The illness is death. What could be worse than death? So said Governor Andrew Cuomo about a week ago to a reporter in press conference, in response to the off-sided suggestion that the cure must not be worse than the illness. Leaving the politics of the confrontation aside, one cannot help but to ponder this question and the statement immediately preceding it, its truly ancient nature, and why it's asked. And in pondering so, one finds the age-old crisis of sentience, which mankind has struggled with, born of the terror of knowing life, and consequently knowing death, a crisis which drives some to wonder whether sentience is even worth possessing. The age of this conundrum has allowed it to inspire myths and cultures across the world. These ancient narratives frequently are and contain symbolic imagery and actions. It often occurs that myths of death and the afterlife involve knowledge sought after and or gained. Eden, for example. They include fearful or awesome creatures, like snakes, accompanying or bearing some item which is a boon of knowledge, perhaps fruit. The prevalence of these myths of death and the afterlife is a testament to mankind's fascination with the subject, or, perhaps more accurately, its fear of it and the unknown behind it. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, the hero of Uruk is faced with the realization of his own mortality after beholding the death of his companion Enkidu. When Gilgamesh, in his mourning for Enkidu, searches for everlasting life, he must explain to those who he meets along the way why he appears so sullen and downtrodden, whereby the audience finds in the demigod a kindred spirit, similar to Disney's recreation of Maui. After telling his tale to many he passes along the way, he is given the location of a plant by Utnapishtim, the survivor of the Great Flood, which will grant the one who consumes it eternal life. He subsequently retrieves it and loses it at the hands of a serpent, an object of fear. In the symbolically saturated justification of Gilgamesh, the responses he receives to it, and his search for immortality, we behold the hero grappling with the same illness Governor Cuomo and the rest of us are threatened by today. And if we take the time to consider the situation, we might find guidance for our own lives. In the 2014 Davis translation, from Tablet 10. At this did Siduri, maker of the wine, say unto Gilgamesh, If you indeed be Gilgamesh, king of high-walled Uruk, who vanquished Humbaba, guardian of the forest of cedars, who seized and slaughtered the bull of heaven, and who put to rout and smote lions in the mountain passes, wherefore is your vigor so wasted, and your cheek so sunken? Wherefore is your face so wretched, and why is your spirit so sorrowful? Why resemble you like unto one who has undertaken a long and arduous journey? Why is your countenance weathered by cold and heat? And why do you wander the wilderness clad in lion skins in pursuit of the wind? Gilgamesh made reply unto Siduri, the maker of the wine, thus, Wherefore should my vigor not be wasted, and my cheeks so sunken? Should not my face appear wretched, and my spirit sorrowful? Should I not resemble one who has undertaken a long and arduous journey? Should not my countenance be weakened by cold and heat? And should I not wander the wilderness clad in lion skins in pursuit of the wind? My friend Enkidu, my comrade, who hunted the swift wild stallion of the hills and the panther of the plains, has met the fate of all mankind. We together overcame all manner of hardship and travail, and ascended the mountain. Together we vanquished and killed Humbaba, guardian of the forest of cedars, and together we seized and slew the bull of heaven. But then did untimely death take him from me. So did I mourn him for the space of 6 days and 7 nights, and did not consign him to the tomb until a maggot crawled out of his nostril. And then did the fear of death overcome me. For this reason do I rove o'er the wilderness, and find no comfort or repose. The issue of my friend's demise weighs heavily upon me and oppresses me. How can I remain silent? How can I not give voice to my grief? He whom I loved has become unto dust. Enkidu, my friend, has perished and become unto dust. Shall I not also lay me down like Enkidu, never to rise again for all eternity? O maker of wine, now that I at last look upon your visage, let me not see the face of death, that which I fear so much. At this did Siduri, the maker of wine, say unto Gilgamesh, Gilgamesh, wherefore do you wander so? Never will you find the eternal life you seek. For the gods, when they first created mortals, allotted death unto mankind, but life everlasting the gods retained in their keeping. As for you, Gilgamesh, let your stomach always be full. Be of good cheer each day and each night. Fill each day with merriment. With dancing and rejoicing let every day be abounding. Fresh and clean should be your merriment. Aye, let your hair be clean and washed. Bathe yourself in pure water. Cherish the little child who holds your hand. Bring joy to the loins of your wife. This, then, is the work of man. At this did Utnapishtim say unto Gilgamesh, Why, O Gilgamesh, are you so wretched? Such self-pity is unseemly. You were formed from the flesh of the gods and men. The gods did favor you as if they were your fathers and mothers. Have you ever, O Gilgamesh, compared your lot with that of a fool? For you did the gods set a throne in the assembly and suffer you to rule. The fool is given remainders of unfermented yeast in the stead of butter, coarse bran and offal in the stead of fine bread. The fool wears a sackcloth in the stead of splendid apparel. In the stead of a magnificent sash does he wear an old rope. Since no advisers counsel him, he knows not what to do. Think on the fool, O Gilgamesh, and compare your lot to his. True it is that the gods took Enkidu, your friend. But you, O Gilgamesh, you strove without cease, and what did you accomplish? With toil and strife did you wear yourself out. Your sinews and your muscles are tormented with pain. All this does but hasten the onset of the end of your days. The life of a man is as easily broken as a reed in a thicket of cane. Death all too soon cuts down in their prime the handsome youth and the comely maiden. No one beholds the face of death. No one hears the voice of death, but pitiless and unyielding death cuts down all. Everything is impermanent. Yet a house we build to stand for all time. Yet a seal we set to a contract for all time. Yet brothers divide a bequest for all time. We yearn for peace, yet hatred and strife there is always in the realm. Ever will the rivers rise and flood the land. We are like unto the mayfly, floating on the waters, gazing upon the sun, and then we are no more. All is transitory. The sleeping and the dead, how alike they are. They both portray the image of mortality. No distinction is there between master and servant when both have reached the end of their allotted lifespan and breathe their last. The Anunnaki, the assembly of great gods, together with Mametum, maker of destiny, do ordain the fate of men. Both death and life do they allot, but the hour of his death is not for a man to know. From Tablet 11. Gilgamesh dug a shaft deep into the ground until the abyss he did reach. He bound heavy stones to his feet, and the stones dragged him down into the depths of the seabed. There did he espy the plant. As he seized the plant, its thorns did scratch him. Then did he cut loose the heavy stones from his feet, and the sea carried him upward and cast him upward, and cast him upon the shore. And Gilgamesh said unto Urshanabi the ferryman, Behold this plant, Urshanabi. It is a plant of great wonder. With it a man may regain his youthful vigor. Unto the high-walled Uruk I shall carry it. There I will give it unto the elders to eat in order to test its properties. The name of this plant shall be old man becomes young man. Then I will eat the plant, that I may once again come to be a youth." Whereupon did Gilgamesh and Urshanabi set forth on their journey. After 20 leagues they broke bread. After 30 leagues they rested for the night. And Gilgamesh perceived that there was a pond of cool water. He descended unto the pond and bathed in the water. But a serpent smelled the fragrance of the plant. The serpent slithered forward silently and snatched the plant. As it snaked away, the serpent sloughed off its skin. And then did Gilgamesh, when he beheld the serpent make away with the plant, sit himself upon the ground and weep. Down his cheeks did the tears flow, and Gilgamesh said unto Urshanabi the ferryman, "For what purpose, Urshanabi, have mine hands toiled? For what purpose has mine heart's blood been spent? No boon have I attained for myself. Instead, a serpent has reaped the benefit thereof. And now do the flood tides rise for 20 leagues, because I dug a shaft deep into the ground until the abyss I did reach. How shall I now seek out the landmarks to return and find once again that plant? Let us abandon the boat upon the shore and continue on our journey." After 20 leagues they broke bread. After 30 leagues they rested for the night. And then at last they came unto high-walled Uruk, and Gilgamesh said unto Urshanabi the ferryman, "Behold before you my city of Uruk. Observe well that mighty rampart which shines like unto copper. Behold the lower wall, which the works of none other may equal. Approach the threshold stone, ancient beyond remembrance. Draw near unto that temple Eanna, dwelling place of the goddess Ishtar. No king will ever surpass its like. Ascend the wall of Uruk and walk upon it. Examine the foundations. Gaze upon the masonry. Were not the bricks fired in an oven and exceedingly good? Did not the 7 sages lay down its foundations? The length of 1 league is the city. 1 league is the date grove. 1 league is the clay pit. Half a league is the temple of Ishtar. 3 leagues and a half is the measure of Uruk." There are many who have quieted their minds to death and the unknown whence it ascends to carry us back. There are some who hold in their souls the utmost fear for the unknown. Others have no earthly idea how to consider death. And some have yet called out to and spoken to death, hoping it would come to them as a liberator. And just as it is received differently, so death is interpreted differently. Some consider death simply to be the biological phenomenon. Some consider it a lack of autonomy. Some consider it a side effect of life. Some consider it a loss of mental faculties, possessions, family, friends, limbs, and other things we say often we cannot do without. Perhaps this loss, we fear, is something we esteem to be worse than death. Death itself, of course, is a loss of life. Then is there something we fear to lose more than our lives? Is there simply a thing we fear more than to lose our lives? What we are experiencing here collectively should be a unifying event, which ties us together by our natural fears. What those fears are is irrelevant. In our exposure to an act of nature, an act of God, or whatever else it might be called, where other preventable, isolated events like war, famine, and genocide have failed to properly seize our attention, by its inevitability to all beings, biologically, politically, monetarily, spiritually, big and small, it has reminded us in the most spectacular fashion that we are, all of us, but temporary beings on the earth, mortal things which might at the least or smallest provocation fall to the earth and die. But what this terror has also given us is an opportunity to see ourselves beside our neighbors, near and far. Every nation, every tribe, every family, every person is equally bound to this fate, and is equally mightily striving to keep it at bay. Whether by the opening of the mind or the closing of borders, each of us wants to avoid this frightful new unknown we have encountered the world over. The illness is death. We all carry it. What is left for us is to find how we will treat our suffering fellows. Will you hurt those who suffer your self-same burden because you are wounded yourself? Or will you pity those in the same plight as your own and find a way to lighten the load for us all? The illness is death. We must all carry it.